And I want to say a few words about democracy, justice, and possibility. So in Hawaii, where the chemical GMO companies have been for a few decades testing their new technologies, it's become a struggle even to regain our most basic of democratic and human rights. Once these companies become entrenched, their power becomes very, very difficult to challenge. We can't even get our state to pass laws mandating that they tell us what kinds of chemicals they're spraying next to primary schools that are sending dozens of children home vomiting and with nosebleeds. And at the government, U.S. national government level, it's far worse. People are probably familiar with the infamous revolving door between Monsanto and the federal government. As resistance across Hawaii and the U.S. is growing, the strategies of these companies has become even more outrageous. Most people have probably heard about the Monsanto Protection Act, or the push to prohibit states from passing labeling laws, the selling out of our universities, the massive amounts of money being spent to deceive the public, and the suing of farmers. But what people might be less familiar with is how the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement, the TPPA, is seeking to push this very same anti-democratic regime onto New Zealand, as well as the 9 other countries that are involved. The TPP could amount to the biggest corporate takeover this country has ever seen, essentially putting the rights of corporations above those of elected governments. If you don't want GE salmon, or you at least want it labeled, too bad. Under the TPP, corporations could challenge this as a barrier to trade and essentially take you to court for it, forcing the government to pay millions in damages for their lost profits. The corporate wet dream doesn't get any more exciting. And the chemical biotech industry could become some of its primary beneficiaries. Under the sweet sound of harmonization, the industry is pushing TPP countries to adopt US-style regulations. In other words, rubber stamping the approval of GE crops and their pesticides, no labeling, and intellectual property rights that protect Monsanto over family farmers. While we can't know the exact details of the TPP because it's being conducted in secret, we can know that it's advancing a food future that is designed by Monsanto, DuPont, and Syngenta, one where the only logic is profit accumulation based on enclosure and exploitation of our commons, rather than one that's built around values of justice, sustainability, and democracy. So today we're gathering with people around the globe who share visions of a democratic food future. We're gathering against a capitalist food system that, despite being cloaked in the rhetoric of free trade and free market, concentrates 75% of the global commercial seed and pesticide economy in the hands of the same few corporations. And most of all today, we're gathering to reclaim our imaginations from those who would have us believe that this system of anti-democracy and profit-making at the expense of the common good is the only possibility, because we know that in fact there is no social benefit when 6 corporations are allowed to monopolize the very basis of the world's food supply, and because we know that we are capable of feeding and nourishing ourselves and everybody on the planet in a way that is sustainable, democratic, and does not include Syngenta, DuPont, Dow, Bayer, BASF, or Monsanto. Thank you.
Well, let me tell you something about Monsanto. Monsanto and companies like Monsanto and companies that actually own the United States government and some governments that have no hesitation about selling out our rights, our health, our future, and our lives have got to be stopped. And they've got to be stopped by people like you, people like me, who decide to stop buying their shit.